There we go.
All right, so we are live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Wins, Falls, and Lessons of 2025. Joining me today, I have Audrey Hall, president of EcoServe Pest Services in Buffalo, New York, John Patterson, sales manager of Grasshopper Lawns out of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Dewey Brunson, president of Best Home and Property Services of Long, South Carolina. As a reminder to our viewers, feel free to use the chat box on the side here and ask questions throughout. I have Katie, our moderator on the channel, who may be asking questions as well. And we just love to hear from the audience. But to go ahead and just kick off the webinar, I'd love to ask each and every one of you, Audrey, John, and Dewey, if you had to sum up 2025 in one word for your business, what would it be and why?
I would say for Grasshopper, it'd be educational. We had been using a different provider for our website, and actually a different person handling that role too. So I kind of inherited that at the same time that our previous company lost their IT person, and we were looking around, and I joined Colmarch and really discovered all that we were learning, all that we didn't know about the whole process of even SEO and paid ads and how that all works behind the scenes and what we were lacking in our previous website. And it's been an exciting venture learning about how to put the content together and budgeting and trying to forecast what we're going to need in amount of paid ads. So it's been new to me and learning as we go. And you guys have been great about patient and guiding us through that. And so we're having a good experience, and it's been a learning experience the whole time. So I'd say educational.
Wonderful. Audrey, Dewey?
Yeah, so I think for us, I took a look at this. I thought it was an interesting question, just reflecting back. I think a lot of times we're in this rat race, no pun intended, but basically we get to we're still in November, and it's like, oh my gosh, 2025 we're almost to the end of it. And obviously now we're having our conversations about 2026. And so sometimes it's hard to sit back and reflect on a year. And so that forced me to do this. And I think the word that stuck out most to me was connected. And from a marketing standpoint, I think there's a lot of different pieces that go on to creating a successful marketing department, campaign, growth and success of the business. And one of the things that EcoServe is really focused on this past year is our connection to our customers, and how do we communicate with them. And that's still an evolution as we speak. The next portion of that would be the connection to our community. We're really big. If you follow any of our social platforms, you know that we are big believers of supporting our community. Our tagline is pest control that's personal, but that it's just a sum it up of all the things that we really deeply care about. We care about the people of Buffalo. We're the city of good neighbors here, and there's a ton of nonprofits to support and make sure that they're operable and serving those customers, or serving those folks in our community that are in need. And I think just connected, and we're pulling all the pieces together. I think that marketing again can be this web. And a lot of times each of those components can sometimes operate on a silo. And I think there's so much more efficiency and so much more connection, again, that can be made when you're able to take all those pieces together and really sit down and look at it from a 20,000 foot view. And sort of that's what we've done this past year. And it's really just the tip of the iceberg. We're really pushing forward and some of the initiatives that obviously we'll talk about today.
For us, it's been, I guess, if you had to put it into a word, it's been explosive. For us, it's been a true blessing for what we've been able to do this year. We've actually we're just a hair under double as far as our growth in our company in 1 year. So we've going from 24 employees up to almost 50 now, and it's been really, Colmarch has helped us do that a lot. And when it comes to marketing, we used to kind of do our website before. It was like a set it and forget it kind of thing. You make it and you get it where you want it and how we want it to look and what kind of may work for Google and SEO and things of that nature at that time. And then you're like, okay, I'm good to go. And you just kind of, next thing you know, it's a year later and you're looking at it. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm behind the 8 ball like crazy. And so What really helped us jump this year on the marketing standpoint side was really customizing and forecasting, looking at next month and 2 months out and saying, all right, what am I going to offer in 2 months based on the season of that year? So, we're going into winter, so we're looking more on rodent exclusion work, and we're looking to try to get some of our turf program people to go ahead and pre-sign up for next year. And we're working on that now for the next couple of months. And so when that time comes, Cold March is already ready and has our website customized each month for what we're offering that month. And so it's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing. And when it comes to marketing and preparing and looking ahead to and being ready for that and whatever you may be doing and whatever marketing material you're using. But the culture is huge. I cannot stress that enough within a business to be able to get where you want to get to. But it is a more or less a marathon versus a sprint. And so you have to consistently keep doing it and staying in it. You can't just do it for 1 month and see massive results. You have to stick with it and have a long-term plan.
I love that. Okay. So to reiterate, John, you said educational.
Yes.
This year in terms of marketing, just learning, essentially shifting what you guys had done in the past, moving forward, really thinking about different channels within marketing. Audrey, you had said connected. I know working with you personally, just a big push and drive is how connected you are within your community and making sure that everyone in the Buffalo and the greater Buffalo area knows and associates EcoServe Pest Services with my community. You're my next door neighbor. You go to my church. Your kids go to my school. Things of that nature, which I love, and I know we'll chat more about. And I have some questions on. And then Dewey, yours is explosive. So since shifting gears, really forecasting out, not just thinking in the moment, but now we're really paying attention to, okay, what does December, January, February look like for our company, and how are we marketing those services, and how can we get that prepped and ready, has just been really explosive for Best Home, right? So with that, Dewey, I want to chat with you first, but really ultimately, let's chat a little bit more about this forecasting and thinking ahead. Were there shifts in the way that you or your team have communicated, whether it's through a sales process or marketing? So outside of digital, are we doing door to door? Are we doing print? What does that all look like for you?
So a big difference with us as well, we went from doing a lot of handwritten contracts and things of that nature to using, we use PestPack, but using a lot of different program that allows us to do things digitally that continually sends those estimates to customers and keeps reminding them, so it's in the forefront of their email. So they're laying in bed. I can't tell you how many times I check my email religiously, more than I even check my text messages. So before I go to sleep, I'll roll over, see what kind of emails I have coming through, if there's junk or whatnot. And I can't tell you how many contracts come through at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night where people are at home, they're relaxed, they're laying in bed or laying on the couch or whatever, and they're doing their business then. So it allows them to do that after, we've already given that proposal. But that helped with that. We do a lot of TV advertisements. TV is actually cheaper than what you think if you do it the right way. If you're trying to, based on your town, it all goes by impressions. And so some of these towns are massive. We're based out of Myrtle Beach. And so some of these towns like Charleston have huge impressions. I'm sure some of these big cities that some of y'all are in have these large impressions, so it can get very expensive. But if you do some of the OTT, which is the cutting the cord, and really you can narrow it down to knowing what your clientele is. I can't stress that enough, that you have to know who are you, what customer are you trying to get. The answer is everybody needs pest control. Everybody could use my services, but who is your most profitable customer? Who's going to stay with you the longest, which makes it that more profitable, so you're not having to continually fight for the next customer. You have that recurring revenue that doesn't have turnover. So, for us, it's retirees and folks that are moving down from up north and coming here to what their paradise, I guess, for retirement. But doing that and utilizing the TV and folks go to they see something on TV or they see something on social media, and the next thing they're doing is going to Google. So then you're gonna have to pay for it there, and so you're paying for it twice. But once that system comes in, if that phone call happens, it comes into our office. But education, like John said, is huge as well, and education of what about your services, so that your team understands what we do here, how that process happens, and understanding the value of that service. And usually sometimes you can train all you want as far as how we plan on doing the services and what we offer. And sometimes on the sales side, folks don't quite, if you don't believe it, you can't sell it in a sense, so people can see it instantly when they talk to you, and they can hear it in your voice. And so letting those staff actually go out and be a part of doing that job and seeing that what it takes to do the job, now they're like, oh yeah, now I know why we're charged what we charge to do what we do. And so it allows them to be able to speak to customers in a different avenue. But education is huge as far as and getting everybody to drink the Kool-Aid and buying into the company. And that's where that culture kicks back in majorly, and allowing everybody to understand the path and understand where the company needs to go to be able to advance. And so, but you can't put enough funds in Google. You can't put enough, and like I said, I can't stress enough how much about TV works. I'm on my commercials. And the reason I know it works because I could be at TSA going to the airport. I could be at a gas station and everybody says, oh, you're the best guy. You're the bug guy. And so everybody sees it and it just resonates with folks. And then it gives them that face to put with a company, and it gives them a local feel, and it lets them know that they're purchasing from you, and that you're local, and you're not just, sitting in Oregon trying to sell something over a phone to somebody who lives in Myrtle Beach. And so it really allows that local feel to all intermingle together. Angel, I think you're muted.
Yeah, Angel, we lost your audio there.
Thanks, guys. So what I was saying as I was miming all this is that I'm really glad that we have Audrey and John on the call with us as well, because I think both EcoServe and Grasshopper also shine when it comes to that connection and that branding within the community, right? So Audrey, I'd actually like to chat with you about this a little bit, diving into, I think, what you would probably consider a bit of a lesson, a bit of a win, is with EcoServe, probably the beginning of 2025, really focused in and honed in on like this professional branding of, we're doing curated videos, we're doing professional photos, which I think is great to capture your initial customer. But over the year, we've discovered that really candid opportunities to just share what you guys are doing, whether it's on the job or in the community, really highlights and gives that personalization. So I'd love to just chat with you and ask a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that I'm super passionate about in the way, I operate the business that I started and took over was $32,000 in revenue as a part-time business. And so I've, the grit and some of the things that I've had to do over the course of the year years would have to be discussed at a bar, because some of these stories are crazy, but it's hard. It's not easy. And when you have a really small marketing budget, it can sometimes be challenging to sort of get yourself to this next level. And, I think the point that I think, Dewey is really hitting home is that it really comes down to data. And if the data is speaking for the results, then you have a solid foundation for your marketing plan. And so in 2025, tail end of 24 into 25, we worked with a media company, a local company, good friends of theirs, still really good friends. And so we were doing these very curated videos, really well thought out, planned. They were scripted. And, over time, some of the challenges that I saw was that they were really pretty and I loved them. And I felt like, oh gosh, look at our team is being highlighted. It's great. But at the end of the day, we were not seeing the results, and the money was still going out the door every single month. And so taking a look at that and really taking a hard look at what you're doing and why you're doing it. And, consequently, what are the results of that? Are you seeing the results? It was, we let it play out. And, halfway through the year, we kind of made a tough call to say, we need to go in a different direction. And that's okay as a business. And I think, in marketing, you have to sometimes, as a small business, you have to stick it out with certain things to see where it works. But then after a little bit of time and to see the monetary investment and the energy that you put into it, it's important to make calls to shift, to head into a different direction. So we were in the middle of busy season. We said, okay, we're going to change course. And, taking a look, especially like social media, we actually boost some of our posts. We're spending not a ton of money when it comes from a marketing budget standpoint. Typically we like to be about 8% of our revenue dedicated to marketing. And that's a pretty industry standard, as well as in pest control, at least. If you're going to be a high growth, a high growth company, that's a pretty healthy number. So when you take a look at that and you say, okay, well, I'm going to throw $100 at a social media post, overall, that's not a big number. So we do that, and we see the engagement, and we see what Dewey's talking about, impressions, but more so, what's the engagement? How many people are reacting to that post? How many people are sharing that? Are we running fun campaigns? Are we running contests to engage the public a little bit more? And we found that the response and the people that visually saw those posts was substantially higher, bar none, by spending $100 on a post that we put together here in the office. And what people cared about. Like we have a dog in our office, and our customers love dogs, absolutely love dogs. And so our dog Theo is a part of our logo, and that was part of our marketing initiative from the get-go. But it's important to get that out in front of the customer and what they care about, what's important to them. And so spending, it's interesting. Since we pulled back on the thousands of dollars that we were investing per month on the video, and really started honing in on how do we get that personal human nature connection via iPhone, because we really have come so far in what we're able to produce. I think a lot of people really respect that, and they really think, oh, that's, again, what you're talking about. That's my neighbor. That's my friend. That's my customer's aunt. That's, and Buffalo's a small city. We're not talking New York City here. We're talking, everyone sort of knows everyone. And so that's, obviously you have to take a bird's eye view from what type of region you're operating in, and the type of city that you have. If you have a huge bandwidth, if we're talking Atlanta, I don't necessarily think that strategy is going to work. I think that you may have to think a little bit bigger. But again, it comes down to who you want to be as a company. You take a look at your core values. You say, okay, what are we going to live and die over? What are the decisions that we're going to operate off of every single day? Those are our core values, which are honesty, empathy, authenticity, which goes back to our, pest control, that's pest personal, responsiveness. Our customers need us. We go. Teamwork, which is everything to me. If our team is not operating on one page, then I just, we've seen it time and time again where the ball drops. And then our final one, which we put into operation this past year, is service standards. And that lends a hand to a lot of the metrics and the numbers that we're really focusing on and looking at and saying, okay, really, we're putting money at this, but is it giving us a return? And so we do that on our social media. We also do that on our Google local services, taking a look at each of those individual calls and making sure that we're seeing a return on those phone calls, and that they're qualified leads, and that we're directing Google in the way that we should be. And, the final thing, I know we'll probably touch base on it at some point, Angel, is the AI portion of things. I think there's so much to leverage from a marketing standpoint in the AI world. Not just from a marketing standpoint, but how can you utilize AI to create efficiencies so that you can have more of these human moments? How do we streamline the data that we're pulling? How do we streamline how we view it? A lot of times marketing can be just this massive numbers game, but it can be overwhelming because you have so much numbers in front of you. Well, there's a lot of opportunity for us to connect with ChatGPT to kind of say, here's what we've got, give us some insight. What can we do better? What can we do worse? Why do we, tell me how the last year has been based on what I've been communicating with you on every single day. I mean, you've got the press releases, you've got the social media posts, which you still want to keep a close eye on, because I think a lot of that stuff can get very generative, and people see that. So you still have to have that voice. But we're seeing a lot of that shift in the way that we focus our attention over this past year. And certainly as we move into 2026, we're full speed ahead.
Absolutely. I love that. And then John, I guess from the grasshopper side, I know the orange just resonates in your service area in Scranton and Larksville. People are aware. They know, they see that bright orange, and they understand it's grasshopper. With the shift and like the education, you're moving more into the digital marketing realm. Have you seen that shift within your customers, or even just within the community, or has it been pretty even keel where people still know who you are, yet they're finding you online?
Yeah, I'm listening to what both Dewey and Audrey had said, and a strange piece of trivia is that I actually grew up in Buffalo, so I'm listening to what you're saying about the city, and all I can say is Josh and the boys better get their act together next weekend, okay? So
I know.
I would throw that in there.
Thank you. We need all the good juju.
Yeah, but the city of Buffalo, you had mentioned, it's a smaller city, and we're in Wilkesburg, Scranton, which is going to be one step down from Buffalo. So our market here through the years, the company's been very heavy on branding, and was a big part of our budget. And I think in the early years of the company, that was what built up on the early stages of yes, people knowing the colors and the brand. And we have, I don't know if you can see, but this little bug here it's known in the area because it's just been everywhere. We've done billboards and magazines, we've done TV, we have radio ads, anything that we could put the logo or a sticker on through the years we have. I've been here long enough to say that I can remember when digital wasn't even a big thing at all, to see it evolve over the years. And to Dewey's point is that we're looking to take the digital and grow a lot with that. And it's just a new way to go. So we still have a balance in our area where we're still using print because we have a certain segment of our population here that's going to respond better to print. We don't want to miss them in the digital age, but that every year that changes a little bit. So we're moving ahead with digital too. We do want to see a lot of growth next year and kind of balance what we've been doing with branding, digital and print, so that we can kind of balance and make a move to more digital. In our area, we think the company branding through all the years is really established, that people do know us. We have a radio commercial with a jingle, Dewey, that people do tap us on the shoulder, and the guys that are on the road, if they stop to get a coffee in the spring, they'll tap them on the shoulder and in a fun way sing the jingle to them, so we know it's out there. It's hard to track because you mentioned too that they'll hear it, they'll see it, they'll find it another way, and then they'll go online to seek us out, and we may not know the original source. So there's doubling up there, and we know that there's a shift even in this area, and as we expand in surrounding areas that are going to respond better to digital. So this is a good time for us to learn and forecast into next year to make better use of it and try to find that good balance. We want to keep everything out there to touch everybody, but what is the best use of the money and the funds to make sure we're getting the return on that? So yeah, we're looking forward to next year and taking our year over year now that we have one, because when we came into this, our original person we had with our website, which was kind of, do we put it and set it and leave it? We lost our Google account and history with that, so we had to start all over from scratch, from zero. So now we've got some year over year and data to show and can make better forecasts for next year. So yeah, we've learned a lot this year, and everything you guys are saying is hitting home too, as far as how you're making that balance. And I'm glad to hear you had that explosive growth. That's we're excited about looking to do the same.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I will say, I'm sorry, Angel.
No, go right ahead,
say
Dewey.
that, looking back before this explosive growth happened, looking back to say, well, what led up to this? I mean, obviously, it did happen overnight in a sense. It felt like, at least. We didn't purchase anybody. We're family owned and operated. I'm a second generation owner, and so we've never purchased or acquired any company ever. This is all organic growth. And so what helped to get us in the right direction for this, especially when it comes to marketing, is we were at one point spread and so thin. I mean, I can't tell you how many, I live in the golf capital of the world. So I can't tell you how many golf tournaments they have here for charities, right? And so you're always, as owners, you're always getting hit. Can you donate this? Can you donate that? You do this, and you want to help, and you buy a whole sponsor, or, whatever it is in your town that you do, you give that $100, so you can still give to that charity or give to that local event. But, you have to really narrow down where's your marketing funds going. You cannot spread yourself so thin. I mean, if you get on the TV, you get on the radio, you do a billboard. Well, Buffalo's even though it's a smaller town, or even, I see here on the chat, Augusta, North Augusta. I'm actually from North Augusta myself as well. But, you know, even in a small town, one billboard doesn't get you a lot of traction by just having one. And so, and if you have just one billboard, or you have one commercial out of all the days and time that TV runs, or just one radio, it doesn't get traction. You have to put it kind of all in on something. And as Audrey said, you may try it and you have to give it some time to work. And there's a possibility that it may not work. You may need to take that out. Like, listen, I'm not getting the return on this. I need to shift to do something else. But you don't want to spread yourself thin. And you have to be a broken record. I mean, I feel like all I've done is all I've ever done in my entire life. But you have to be a broken record, and you cannot put enough Facebook posts on there, Instagram posts, showing what you're doing. And it's not just about, hey, call me, or, use me. It's show people what you're doing. Give them a video. Give them, we're in an age where we want to see it now. And I want to see it as fast as possible, and I don't have time to read anything. It's go, 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 go. And so video is huge, and doing a video really quick of showing what one of your guys are doing or gals are doing in the office or out in the field, and really just showing that hands-on. I love the whole, giving back, like Audrey said, whether you do like a $100 gift card to a local restaurant, maybe you service a restaurant in town and you're like, hey, I've done this before as well. I want to feature your restaurant for free. I'm going to give you $100 towards a gift card. Do you mind matching that so I can give you free publicity? And boom, you go on there and say, hey guys, whoever makes and shares this post will get, opted to win this $200 gift card to this awesome local restaurant that everybody goes to. And so it's a win-win for everybody. You're helping build the community. You're giving back to the community. People want to help people. Yeah. People genuinely want to help people, and so getting your service techs to buy in. I mean, I know we just had Halloween and we did a dress up thing. I gave every person in the company a $20 bill if they dressed up when they came to work. And they still had to have the logo shown. They still had to stay within certain parameters. Can't wear something crazy scary, to freak out Miss Jones. And when you walk to the door, but and for every time they got a selfie, whoever got the most selfies with a customer in their uniform at the end of the day got $100 cash. And so it's just, and we're posting all these on social media. So it's just small things that you can do that are absolutely free. Doesn't cost you $1. It's just buying in. But you have to be that broken record. And at the end of the day, like John said, it comes back to Google. So you're going to pay twice for it. I hate it. I can't stand it. I pay for it on TV, then I pay for it on Google. And we're at the top of the list in our area because we pay for the advertising, and nobody wants to scroll down to the organic. They want to click the first button, and I got to pay for that click. So,
and at all hours of the day, that's the thing about digital. They'll come in 3, 4 in the morning. If you look at the times of when people are sending in leads, the convenience of it, you can't beat it. The leads will come in any hours of the day. So one of our best ones we ever did was we had orange stickers with the logo on it. We had a contest for customers to send in a photo of the best place that they ended up putting the sticker. And the winner, I think that year, was a drone flying over a drone that took a picture of it. But there's places around where we can still find those stickers in unusual places. I think the owner at one point said he found one in Florida, which we're nowhere near, and so someone had it and put it on, So we've done the marketing and the giveaways and donations to little leagues and picnics, and we have an Earth Day project and everything we've ever done to be able to get our name out there. And what I'm learning and enjoying is how the digital is kind of moving to make that more convenient and reach people easier, and like I said, find the balance in the budget and the return.
Yeah, I think, Dewey, one of the things that I thought was a really good point that you made was we have golf tournaments here too. And the funny thing about golf tournaments here is that it's like weather driven. So like May through September, that's when golf tournaments is. And I swear to you, I could hit up 1 or 2 golf tournaments a week if I wanted to. Yeah. There's a couple points to that. The one is that we're going to stick with organizations year after year. I think if you pinball from like, oh, I'm going to do it this year and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this year, it's like the 7 touch points before a customer buys. When you're doing community initiatives, you have to be very, it has to be very intentional, and you have to get to know the people in the nonprofit. I mean, it's a reciprocal thing. We're going to get to know them. We're going to know what they're doing. We want to make sure that it's happening. You know, we love what we're doing, and then also that they get to know us a little bit better too. So there's that, we're building that relationship over time. And we do that with everyone. Number 2, which I found is really, really helpful, is one of the things that I'm super passionate about, is that I can write a check. I can write a check. If we grow, if, we've got money in the bank, I can write a check and I can send it off, and, that'll be it. Thank you so much for your donation. And then it's done. And I'm a big believer of, well, how do we build on that? And I think marketing, you can take a look at it from 2 fronts. You have your external customers, which are the residential, commercial folks who buy services from you, and then you have your internal customers who are your team members. And so, how are you utilizing part of your revenue towards your internal marketing? And you can do that really easily through some of the nonprofit work that you're doing, because people that work here care not only about themselves, but they care about others. They care about the community. And when we do these initiatives, we're getting involved. So our breast cancer, literally right before I was recording this, I was downtown revealing a $8,100 check to the Breast Cancer Network of Western New York from a fundraiser we did in October. But that is built, we do that by having all of our service teams sell raffle tickets while they're out in the field. We're calling on family members, we're calling on friends. I joke, I'm like, I don't care if you call your enemies, don't care. That's what calling everyone to sell these raffle tickets. And the prize is a phenomenal Buffalo Bills prize pack. And so there's a lot of camaraderie around that. Next week, we're taking the team out. We're taking 2 separate trips to the local store. We've got 20 names that we're donating to for Christmas through a nonprofit that we're working with for the holidays. And so we're going to divvy them up into teams, and it's a team exercise. So they're going to the store, and it's their job. They'll have like $100 per person to go and find based on this list of things that they are going to get for this individual. And so the impact spreads so much more. I mean, I could go on Amazon, I could go out myself, I could bring my daughter, and we could do this all in one night. But the impact is the critical impact that takes place when you involve your team in exercises like this is long lasting. I mean, you talk about employee retention, you talk about customer retention is also, I think, a piece of marketing, because you're spending so much money and resources outputting, giving your resources to gain these customers, that it's really important that you're very intentional about how you keep them and that you're tracking that number, both internal and external. I mean, if you were able to track the amount of money that's associated with hiring someone and then also bringing in a new customer, it's not just like Dewey saying, it's not just the $75 lead fee from GLS. It could be the billboard, the $4,000 wrap on your truck that initially hit them, and then it was a TV ad that made an impression, and a friend recommended something. So all of these things add up, and it can be really expensive. So it's important that we're being conscious of us maintaining that threshold, and so you can really have a long-term impact when you're kind of putting these exercises together. And I encourage everyone, if you're going to be doing any type of community-driven service, get your team involved. You don't, and I know it can be tough. So when we do this stuff, we're paying them to be there. This is an EcoServe team activity. So we'll do some stuff outside of work, and if you want to show up, great, optional. But if we're really being intentional, like we are next week to do our toy or gift stuff, they're being paid to be there. And so that's just part of the budget.
I want to jump in here because we're starting to talk about the internal team, right? So you have your technicians, your sales, your office staff, things of that nature. Have you guys found a way, and it sounds like it, but really learning this year from leveraging, knowing that as long as you're in the communication with them, we're learning from each other, understanding what we need to lift up. And then Audrey, I think you made a great point of just it's employee retention, right? And Dewey, I think you even made it in the beginning of, if they're drinking the Kool-Aid, they're able to sell what you're serving. And do we see benefits there? What have we learned from, I guess, really a hiring standpoint, or how you incentivize your team?
We do have functions that we like to share with the team through the season. So we do summer outings, end of the year parties, and we try to look at good bonus structure through the year, so that there's always some incentive, a career path to see, different steps that you can know yourself, that when you're come in the door, here's the avenue I can take to do better for myself. Um, we're very production based, so there's bonuses that way as well. But some awards through the year and just recognition, employee of the month that we do. Um, when we do the functions, we do an Earth Day donation. We try to pick a little league or somebody that can really benefit from a donation of services in the spring to make their grass look better. So it could be a park, but we bring the whole, as much of the company as we can to participate in that all together and get good pictures and include that on our social media and put that on the website as well, and really make that website so when people look and see our company culture, not just the logo and the colors, but there's a lot of pictures of what we do through the year and parties we've had, so they can kind of get a feel of. It's been a family business for many years, so we're going to carry that feeling with us. We want people to realize and know that that's how we're conducting ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, the company events are huge. We do at least 5 company events a year. Some are on actually just internal events. Like on the 21st, we're doing a Thanksgiving Day, so everybody comes back here at 2:00, and we have a full being catered and deep frying turkeys and all that stuff, and doing a full meal. And so it brings everybody together, and we do our awards. But we'll have a family day as well in the middle of the year on a Saturday, where folks can bring their spouses and kids, and everybody comes together as families and they mingle. And then you have people that are now that knew each other at work, but their families don't know each other. Now their families meet each other, and they're like, oh, well, let's start hanging out. So now they're hanging out outside of work, and it holds each other accountable more so, and they just, the camaraderie just grows off of that, So I can't stress enough of definitely about agreeance to the functions of taking the time out. I mean, you're not going to miss 2 hours, 3 hours out of a day, out of an entire month, or out of 2 months. I mean, take the time, everybody come back to the office and do something fun. Even if it's cornhole or just whatever fun event you want to come up with, and games that can be played, breaking them up in teams and just doing fun activities is huge. But definitely, we are extremely big on everybody grows here together. It's not, hey, let's make the money, a ton of money for the company, and we're going to give you this little bit of money every pay period. I mean, everybody here that has no ceiling. They have a way to make as much money as they want to, that they apply themselves to. So everybody has that ability, from the people that sit inside the office to the techs, sales. Everybody has that ability. So it allows them to shine bright if they want to, and to make as much money as they want. And so being able to do that, and I tell them all the time. I tell everybody that sits in front of me, and we have two authentication of hiring, so they have to meet with me. They also meet with somebody else as well. But I tell them, I want your paycheck as large as possible. You won't hear many owners say that. I literally want your paycheck massive. The more money you make, the more money the company makes, and we all make money together. And so by allowing them, I show them how that can be done and what they have to do, and how we plan to hold them accountable, because everybody wants to be held accountable, and everybody wants structure. They may not always say it, but they want it. I mean, you had to keep your room clean as a kid at times, or you had to pick up after yourself and things. And people want that structure, and they want that camaraderie and that love together. So keeping everybody together and keeping the families together, and you need to be in touch with your staff. I mean, you need to know if somebody in your staff just had a baby. You need to know what their names are and what their kids' names are and what they enjoy doing. And nobody wants to be a number. They want to be a person. And so they want to be able to know that they're a part of something, and they're a part of a family and a culture. We play music every morning. We have 2 large speakers in our office. One's inside the office, one's outside in the warehouse. And it's hype music. It's getting everybody going. It's getting their blood going. It's getting the energy going. It's not, you don't walk in our office in the morning and it's quiet and it's dreadful. I mean, it's energy when you walk in our place, and it's awesome. So, but people love that. They want to be a part of that.
Wonderful. And just noting time here, we've talked about some wins, some of what we've chatted about with how we felt this year has really if we could sum it up into that one word, like, right, we're reflecting on what we have accomplished and what we've done. But part of this webinar is to talk a little bit about failures and lessons learned. And I was wondering if you guys had an example of, and I think Audrey, we talked about it in terms of the content and really seeing that shift and what was responsive. But Dewey, John, do you have either a marketing channel that you really thought would have worked, but we just didn't see the success that we thought we'd garner from it this year?
I would, not a failure on anybody on your part. Part of the education for us coming into digital this year from where we were is kind of learning the budget and forecasting. And I feel like next year we're going to do better because we know how to budget better and where to invest more to get a better return. So we may have missed a little bit of an opportunity on our spring rush this year because it was new to us. But that's something that we are really talking here in-house and being mentored on so that next year we're ready to really seize a better opportunity in the spring. So educational, little, not a severe shortcoming. We had a great year, but it's just a place to look back and say, oh, we probably could have done better there. And then we'd be more ready for that next year.
Reviews for us, our goal is to get 1,000 reviews. It's 1,000 reviews this year, and I think we're at like 784 or something like that now. But the goal was 1,000. We're still struggling to get there. We're trying to get there. We've jumped up quite a bit, and we have 2 new branches. But getting the reviews, and at first it was like, hey guys, we need you to hit this review button and ask customers for reviews, and it really wasn't getting the traction that we wanted. We've since then done some contests. We're able to track how many people actually hit the request review button after the service is completed through PestBack. And so we're able now to give some sort of a $100 gift card or whatever the case may be, whoever has the most requests, and what that transitions to. A struggle we've had, and some of it was because of the growth and how busy we've been, but trying to we've always said we don't want every house in town, we just want the one next door. So if we can get the house next door and the one next door, then you condensing routes and everything's getting, it's a lot better for everybody. So trying to get these guys, we have the door hangers that have our logo on there that are actually half glue board, half door hanger, I guess, advertising through, Catchmaster, but trying to get these guys to take the time to walk to the house next door to hang those door hangers and do some of that self-marketing. Again, it costs money to buy the door hangers, but it's fairly cheap to do that. Literally just hang the door hanger, and so you would think it's so simple, like, hey guys, your route would get tighter, you'd make more money, you'd have less windshield time, all these things. It seems to not really catching us much. And so that's kind of our failure. It's been a failure for like a year and a half, and we're trying to combat it. And so we are commission based. You don't work, you don't make any money with us. And so we're not hourly whatsoever. And so guys just kind of want to get the jobs done. In a sense, they don't want to spend the time to walk into the house next door because it doesn't have a dollar value in a sense to them at that time. But we've tried to get them to understand that it would make more money for them if they had that house next door. So that's something that has to do with the struggle of our structure of not being hourly pay, you know what I mean? And so, but that has been a struggle for us so far that we're still trying to combat, and it's getting a little better, but it still isn't there yet.
Wonderful. Audrey, anything to add? Or we can jump right into lessons of pieces that we're either learning and trying to apply into 2026. I know, Audrey, you had mentioned AI. I think that's a wonderful tie-in. It's a tool that I think we're all a little intimidated by, but we know it's kind of the future of marketing, but also just automation in general.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about that. I mean, I think the one thing that stuck with me is like, how do we leverage AI to kind of continue that authenticity? And so I'm all about efficiencies. I'm all about, I think a lot of times AI gets a bad rap for just being put it in and then you're getting the output, and that's kind of and then you just send it along. You send it along into the stratosphere and hope that the marketing gods do what they're supposed to do. And with Colmarch, one of the things that we've been working on over the last couple of months, so it's pretty recent, is we're working with an AI company here in Buffalo. They're called You're the Expert Now. I've been able to send them over to a couple other companies in our industry, but they're really working on that generative AI piece. And so what the generative generative AI means is that anytime I think we're seeing the shift when people go to search for companies or recommendations for places for things that they need, they're going to be actually going to ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot, and they're going to be actually asking that AI recommendations. And so it's really critical for us to take a look internally, take a look at our website to see what kind of, this organization in particular does a scorecard. So I'm working with them to do a scorecard, an AI scorecard of our website, specifically as it relates to generative AI. And so one of the things that they're finding is that frequently asked questions are huge. So when someone goes to ask ChatGPT, I call him Chet. I have a name associated with him, so in my mind he's a man. But I go and ask Chet. I'm like, hey, can you give me a recommendation for this? Or hey, can you tell me how to take care of a rat issue in my house? Or hey, I've got roaches in the kitchen. What do I do? Some of the questions, those questions are being posed to ChatGPT. They're actually pulling the answers off the web based on FAQ pages that are built out on the back end of websites. And Coalmarch has been really instrumental in partnering with that AI company here locally and making sure that our website is tuned up as best as it possibly can. And so our focus now is every single month they're actually creating an AI scorecard for, my thing is pest specific. So right now we're building out rodents and making sure that we're on track as the weather turns here and we have a lot of house mice and deer mice going into homes and things like that, that we are charged up and ready to go for when people go to ChatGPT or Gemini to ask for those type of recommendations, because we do see the future is less and less people going to Google and more having these really conversational, recommendations provided through these AI interactions. And it's been huge. I've seen a lot of, I've seen it firsthand, sort of how this is being built out. And this is going to be something that moves on into, month by month. Blog posts are also really critical when it comes to generative AI and how people search for things, is that you have to, the more content that you can put on your website and link it back to your website, and the source of the, where that stuff comes from and keywords associated with it, that ChatGPT is going to actually pull in. And if you've ever done any type of research on there, a lot of times it gives a source website link to it. So even just like Google, you can get a link that goes to there. And that's just stuff that, it's not like a budget for TV or radio or even like Google local services. You're not putting a budget together of tens of thousands of dollars a month. You're saying, okay, let's take a look at our website and let's do some diagnostics on it from an AI perspective. And again, AI is able to pull so much data on the back end and stuff that's like way, way over my head. And they're able to break that down and say, here's what you should do. And here's the direction you should take within seconds. It's fascinating.
Great point.
Wonderful. I appreciate that, Audrey. And I will say for those that are watching, there are other webinars that Coalmarch has done in terms of SEO, content strategy, in terms of AI. But Audrey definitely leading, I think, the forefront with the partnership of doing these scorecards. How can we reevaluate the website and curate content even further? And then John, Dewey, Audrey, I'd like to open up the floor as we end the webinar, but really for those watching, what is one piece of advice that you think everyone should be planning or thinking about as they're creating their 2026 marketing strategy? We're in Q4 right before the holidays. People are starting to kind of nail down a lot of those details, but what would you suggest to those watching?
I think digital is the way things are going and the move, and it's becoming more and more of an important part of the picture and your balance of how you're putting your funds out for marketing, whether it's in print or digital or branding or other sources. And I have learned from you guys to let you guys do your jobs. So we tell you where we're trying to go with it, and you have the data and the analytics there to help us figure out leads and budget and get us to where we want to go. So I've learned a lot this year from that, and looking forward to next year and seeing how you guys help us out next season.
I'd say you definitely need to look at the trends of your business. So you need to look at, all right, where did I make what months are my most successful in? And the months that I'm not as most successful in, how do I make that month better? How do I bring the low up to keep that roller coaster from going down so low? So, you got to look and see based on your budget and your company size and what you want to do and what services all you offer. When can I offer a discount to get started? When can I offer, if normally, you're charging $175 initial to start a pest control service, when can I really get very competitive and say, hey, I'll offer for $49.99, I get you started this month. And then you have your ongoing service fees of whatever that would be, of $90 a quarter or $150 a quarter or whatever it is. But when can you actually invest? When are you able to invest back into your business and back into saying, hey, let me give this little bit of away and I'll make it back up later? A lot of business and growth is compound interest is what it is. So I'm able to, in certain months, I have done where I've done half off termite treatments. And do I make money up front right that second, a ton of money doing the treatments? No, I'm kind of breaking even and not really making hardly anything. But I had that yearly renewal fee that's coming right behind it. And how many people get a termite treatment and say, yep, I did the termite treatment, I paid all this money, and now I'm going to cancel it next year? Very rarely does that happen unless somebody sold the house, or something drastic happened in their life. So it's just every year I'm picking a certain month. Everybody knows what our company, they keep saying, when are you going to do that termite special again? When are you going to, they know it. They know it's coming. They don't know what month it's going to be in. And it's based on what month is my lowest dip. That's when I'm doing it. So I look then at also this does affect every part of the country. Everybody goes to school and everybody has Christmas. So June, July, we usually get a little bit of a dip. It's because families are going on vacations. They're saving the money for vacations. They're going to Disney or wherever they're going. Come Christmas time, you may see a little bit of dip in SEO or pay-per-clicks or whatever the case may be going into the little bit of winter because people are saving money for the Christmas time. And then right after Christmas, it's, I'm recouping from Christmas. And so you have to get very competitive on what kind of marketing campaign and what kind of special you want to give to get people to push them over the edge of, okay, let me go ahead and do this now because it's such a great deal. You have to figure out when that's going to be and when to pull the trigger and what service to offer and correlate it with. I mean, obviously you wouldn't want to go into now saying, hey, let me give you a discount on mosquito service. Well, it's freezing cold outside. Nobody wants mosquito service. So you got to coordinate it with what's going on in the industry right now. We're working on next year. Hey, we've had it where come January, we're pushing already prepay, you can pay for the whole 7-month mosquito treatments for next year, and you got to pay for it all at one time right now, and it's this low rate, and now you're generating 300, 400, whatever that number is for the year. You go ahead and get people making those payments right now. So now you're getting this large lump of money generally in the wintertime when you need that extra cash flow. And while the guy's there doing the quarterly service, he's doing the mosquito service. So it's just to add on to what he's already doing. But you got to look at the trends of your business and definitely see how you can bring those low ends up and what you need to offer. You're going to have to give away something or really reduce some of your rates just to get started, and then you'll make it back up after that, whether it's an annual fee or a quarterly service that's being done.
Angel, I have to say, all I can think of right now is Dewey saying that it's so very cold where he is. And
it's like 40 degrees.
I'm going to throw a flag on the play. Disrespectful. You don't know what cold is.
I'm with you, Audrey.
Fair enough.
I had paper roots up there as a kid. I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's
gosh.
That is funny.
I think for 2026, my thing, Angel, I do have to say is I'm in an AI class every month. So I live and breathe this stuff. It's something that I'm intentional about all the time. And I think if companies were to just dip their toes in it, there's a lot that can be learned. There's a lot of data that can be broken down. It's about how you use the system, how you're prompting it to pull data, pull insights out of it. And then, to that degree, I'm a big believer of still making sure that you have that human connection, because I think a lot of companies are moving away from that. But my thing is we are leveraging AI to create efficiencies so that we can continue as we grow as a company to put the human experience, that human element at the forefront of everything we do, from a marketing standpoint, from a employee interaction with each other, with our customers, with our community, everything we do. And I think that stuff has really been hitting home. And I think that also, lends a hand to us continuing to grow and retaining our people and our customers, and building upon that stuff. Because if you're not looking at your numbers on a regular basis, if you're not looking at why customers are canceling, or how you are getting your customers, if you're not asking that of your customers and tracking that on your software system, all that stuff is very easy to do. We're also on PestPack like Dewey is, and so it's very easy to put a source code in there. We're running those reports on a regular basis. Our entire team, we'll have this dashboard information on the regular basis, so they can be aware of what's going on. But again, I think marketing is, see what you can, there's a lot of different avenues out there. Try the stuff. It does not have to be expensive. Like, that's the point. I think it's really critical, is you don't have to spend a ton of money to get the reach. And you just have to be creative, and you have to utilize you have to know what to look for and where. And of course, if anyone has any questions, I'm an email or a phone call away. I'm happy to talk that stuff through too.
I love that. And thank you for just throwing yourself out there, Audrey, in terms of, hey, shoot me an email. But again, as we wrap up, Tim, I saw you had a question, and Katie had facilitated it, but ultimately it goes back to that whole AI SEO. Really, how does that kind of collide and impact with each other? Which Katie had went ahead and answered. Again, there are other webinars on coalmarch.com where we address AI and those strategies and things to look forward to. But ultimately, as we wrap up, I just want to thank you all for joining and participating and really going through it. It's a lot of it. It's, as you said, Audrey, you have to test out a lot of different things, see what sticks and what works for your customer base or your team ultimately, right? It all is different based on the company and the services you offer. But again, thank you for joining the webinar. Those who are watching, this was recorded. We share it via email, and you can also find it on coalmarch.com. Next week, we have another webinar, November 18th. I see the pop-up just happened. So it's with Jeff Davis, who's our Coalmarch CEO, chatting about scaling your business, smarter marketing, and just more engaged teams. I believe that is a partnership with Applause. So please register, join that. Jeff is a wonderful speaker. I think that'll be a fun panel to be a part of. But again, Dewey, Audrey, John, thank you guys so much for participating. And we just really appreciate it.
Thanks for your partnership.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.